What's up, guys? I'm back, and today I'll be previewing the Minnesota 2024 football schedule. So let's get started. So, in week one, they're playing North Carolina. North Carolina was a team that did not fit my expectations. I had them win about 10 games in the regular season and playing, I believe it's Florida State. Yes, Florida State in the ACC championship. They ended up going 8-5. Plus, they're losing their star quarterback Drake in May to the NFL draft. He's projected to be, I think it's a number 3 overall pick. But in my draft board, he's still a top 10. Maybe not number 3, like number 5. But anyways, I'll be previewing or talking about the NFL draft a couple months later in April. But let's get started right here. I think this will probably be a close game. Without, like North Carolina, they was Drake May. Without Drake May, they're not North Carolina football. It's probably going 7-6, but I think this would be a very close game. So let's move on. Next up is Rhode Island. I'm not previewing that. They're FCS school. Next is Nevada. Also not previewing. They're a group of 5 school. I believe they went 2-10 or 4-8, maybe something like that, but it wasn't good. Anyways, moving on is Iowa. Iowa's a team that overexceeded expectations. They won 10 games, even though they got shut out by Penn State 31-0. Got shut out by Michigan 26-0, and got shut out by Tennessee. Excuse me, 35-0. So I think I would probably win this, but I predicted later in the year. Next up is Michigan. I'm not going to stay on this too long. Michigan is the national champions, even though they're losing the star quarterback J.J. McCarthy and star running back Blake Corum to the NFL draft. So I think Michigan probably is going to blow out Minnesota, but I'll predict it later. Moving on to the next team is USC. USC was the most disappointing team in the college football season, I think, by everybody. I had USC making the college football playoffs. They ended up going 8-5. They ended up finishing the year out with a win over Louisville without Caleb Williams, which he's going to the NFL draft. He done went. He's projected to be number 1 overall pick. We're not talking about the NFL. I think USC still has a lot more talent than Minnesota. So moving on is at UCLA. Excuse me. Just like USC, UCLA, they underexceeded expectations, but not as bad as USC. UCLA did beat USC 38-20. UCLA still has a lot more talent than Minnesota, so I think UCLA probably won this. The next is the bye week for Minnesota. So moving on, next is Maryland. Maryland was a team that they did as good as UCLA. They went 8-5. They beat my team Auburn in the Music City Bowl, 31-13. It's a pretty sad game. But Maryland, I think that they won't be this good next year, especially without Talia playing. Yeah, I'm right. Yeah, he's not playing. So anyways, moving on to the next team is Illinois. Illinois also underexceeded expectations. As Illinois won 8 games, I believe, and they ended up going 5-7, missing the ball. Especially because they did have their running back Chase Brown, because he went to the NFL draft last year. So next is Rutgers. Rutgers, they overexceeded expectations. My watch, I remember when Rutgers went to a bowl, I didn't think they beat Miami. They ended up handling Miami. It wasn't even a game, even though it was pretty close. But I don't think Rutgers would be this good. They're definitely going to miss the bowl, I think. Excuse me. I sound like trash talking right now. Okay. But yeah, I don't think they do that good. No. Let's move on, but mainly because Rutgers won so many games, it's because they got cupcakes they gotta play in their division, like Indiana and Michigan State, and especially some Big Ten West cupcakes. So moving on, they get a bye week, then they play Penn State. I'm not gonna stay on this long. Penn State, they'd overmatch Minnesota. It's not even close. No. especially because Penn State has Drew Aller and their running backs coming back. And their running backs, like, their first-round running backs, Penn State has the best running back group in the country outside of Michigan. I think next year they're definitely going to have the first best running back group in the country, especially with Blake Corum leaving for the NFL draft. So, moving on, the last game of the year is at Wisconsin in the rivalry game. Wisconsin, I think they should be pretty good this year. I expect them to at least make a run, maybe win 9 games. Plus, you got to remember the Big Ten, they're not having divisions with USC, Oregon, UCLA, and Washington coming in. So, I think this would probably be a close game. Yeah, it's going to be a close game, especially if it's a rivalry. So, that's it. Comment if you thought my picks was wrong, or at least how I talked on the teams. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Peace.